Hello, and welcome back to Ask a Newsworker. Today we're going to talk about negativity. Negativity in the news. Is the news negative? Why is the news negative? I have a lot of people asking me all the time, why is the news so negative? Every time I open the news, every time I look at the news, it's always so negative. And by negative, I think people mean depressing, sad, frustrating, confusing, upsetting, all these things. Negative, sort of gathered under the term negative. Is the news negative? Yes, I would say it is. As a guy who's looked at a lot of it for years and years and years, the news is, I would say, resoundingly negative in the sense that it deals with problems in the world. Generally, what becomes news is a problem or a dilemma, a frustration, an impasse, something like that. Good things, positive things, uplifting things don't tend to make the news as much as negative, sad, depressing, or frustrating things. And why is that? Well, to explain it, to begin to explain it, this is one video of many that will address this topic. To begin to explain it, I think we have to go back to other things that have been said in other videos. The recurring theme of the channel thus far that will continue as the channel continues is that the news is made up of human beings. News workers like myself decide what the news is, what the news will be, what will become a news item. And many of the people within the news business feel that negative, sad, depressing, confusing, frustrating, troubling stories are the ones that deserve the most attention. And the reason for that is actually quite noble, is quite understandable. A lot of people in the news business, myself included, want to fix the world's problems. We want the world to be a better place. So we want to report on what's going wrong so that people can be aware of it, can think about it, can ponder it, can take action against it in some way in their private lives. That's the idea, at least. I think that's why the news is as negative as it is because I think people within the news business, this isn't like formally discussed or openly discussed very much in my experience, but the implicit understanding is we should only report on problems, the most serious and egregious of problems within society, because those are the ones that need the most attention, require the most fixing, and it is our job as news people to present the public with troubling information so that they can hopefully fix it, so that someone can figure it out. Someone can do something about it, because we in the news business certainly don't know what to do in many cases. We'll present the public with problems that we've discovered, with issues, dilemmas, frustrations, and we don't necessarily know what to do. But we're hoping that someone out there will know what to do. We're passing the information along to everyone else, hoping that someone will read the news and go, I think I have the solution to this. And that does happen. A lot of people will report having done something or taken action because they read a news article, they read a news story, they watched a video, they heard a report, and they said, I got to do something. I didn't know about this. I'm going to take action. So it does work. I mean, the system works to some degree in terms of alerting people to problems so that they can do something about it in their own lives or get together with other people to do something about it. The unfortunate thing about the news, I would say, is that, and this is something I fully admit, and this is a personal critique I have of the business I'm in that I'm trying to change, in part through doing this channel, in part through my own efforts privately within the organization I'm in and with other people I talk to, other colleagues. I personally think that the news should report on solutions as much as it reports on problems. There should be a lot more solutions journalism. And I'm not the first to say this. I'm not the only person to say this. There's actually a recent article in the Washington Post talking about this very issue, and I will link to it at the bottom of this video. This idea that we know that certain problems, at least, are being tackled, maybe not solved, but tackled, addressed in some way, and the public deserves to know about that too. For example, climate change is a serious, pressing problem, I believe, but there has been some progress made. There have been technologies developed. There have been laws passed, measures taken, engineering feats begun to help deal with, say, rising waters and increased extreme heat. Solutions are underway, but a lot of the reporting you'll see on climate change will almost exclusively be focused on, again, the negative, the destructive, the damaging, where everything is a catastrophe, where everything is a looming catastrophe. And it can lead to a certain amount of despair, hopelessness, and sadness within the public, leading them to think the news is really negative and I don't want to watch it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to hear it. I've heard a lot of people say that to me, like, I don't really watch the news anymore. I don't pay much attention to it. And even though I'm a news worker, I can't really blame them, because a lot of the news is just so overwhelmingly sad and negative. I don't blame anyone for saying, I got to step away from this. And I referenced that a little bit in my other video, how much news should a person consume? And in that video, I said a certain amount. It's hard to tell what, I can't put a number on it, but I do believe that at some point, I say in that video, people should walk away and just do something else besides just look at the news all day. I don't know how many people are actually doing that. There's been talk of things like news addiction. Is that real? I would say it's possible to become addicted to news content. I would say an addiction is an unhealthy indulgence in anything, be it news, be it gambling. I mean, even fitness. Some people are addicted to fitness to the point where they actually might be hurting themselves, or just they're running too much, they're doing too much exercise. I've actually read about this, that you can actually do harm to your body by overdoing it and not taking care of yourself, even through something otherwise positive like fitness. So I do think that the resounding negativity of the news will actually alienate and turn people off, and then lead them to stop really caring maybe about what's going on in the world, because they just can't handle being bombarded with so much negative information all the time. So I personally believe, and I'd be curious to see what people think watching this video. Feel free to comment. Feel free to write me an email or something, or post even a reaction video. Do you feel the news is too negative? Do you think that's good? Do you think that's bad? What do you think can be done about it? I personally would prefer to see more stories about solutions. I've pushed for this amongst colleagues, amongst other people I know within the business. Not everybody gets it. Not everybody understands what I mean. I think it's pretty obvious, but I do think there should be more solutions pieces, more solutions journalism. Here's how we're tackling this problem. Here's how this problem is being addressed. What some of the obstacles remain. What are some of the obstacles that remain, and what can we do about them? Because I think the resounding negativity is just simply too much for people. It's too much for me. I mean, I work in it all day, multiple times per week. And even I have to go like, this is ridiculous. This is too much. So why is the news negative? The news is negative primarily because the news business and the people within it, editors, reporters, managers, publishers, they feel they have to focus on the most negative aspects of the current world situation, because their heart's in the right place. They want people to be motivated to action. They want to say, look at this, look at how horrible this is. Don't you care? Don't you want to do something about it? And it does work to provoke action, to motivate people to action. But I would say the downside, the negative, is that it also can put people off. It can freak people out to the point where they disengage entirely. And I don't think that's good either. So we'll see what happens as the news business evolves. I'm personally pushing for more solution journalism and not so much, let's call it problem journalism. Problem journalism has to happen, but solution journalism is important too, to show people just like what progress is being made in the myriad problems that surround us every day. So yes, if you feel the news is negative, your hunch is correct. It's because the news business feels it has to alert you to all the scariest, worst, and most upsetting stuff that's out there in the world, with the hope that you'll do something about it, that someone will. But who will? Who can save us? Who can help us? It's not always clear, but it could be clearer if there was more journalism about that. So that's all I'll say for this video. We will certainly return to this theme in future. Thank you again for watching Ask a News Worker. See you next time.